It rarely snows in the Seattle area. This past March, it finally snowed heavily. A blanket of white fell from the sky, painting the landscape anew. This scene is very much in keeping with Emily Dickinson's poetry.
It sifts from leaden sieves. It powders all the wood. It fills with alabaster wool the wrinkles of the road. It makes an even face, of mountain and of plain, unbroken forehead from the east, unto the east again. It reaches to the fence, it wraps it rail by rail, till it is lost in fleeces, it deals celestial veil. To stump and stack and stem, a summer's empty room, acres of joints where harvests were, recordless but for them. It ruffles wrists of posts, as ankles of a queen, then stills its artisans, like ghosts denying they have been.
Looking out from my study, the colors of the sky and earth paint a watercolor of a new world, just as described in this poem. Unable to resist the urge, I grabbed my camera and went out to snap some photos. More than a decade ago, I studied photography under a master photographer. Not only was he skilled in photography and painting, but in recent years, he has primarily worked as a director, winning major international awards. This master told me that when teaching his students, he never discussed photographic composition. He even told me to throw my textbooks on composition into the trash. He explained that everyone is born with an innate sense of composition. Learning others' compositional techniques, he said, would cause you to lose your own eye for observing the world. As I explained earlier, humans do not reproduce the objective world with 100% accuracy within their subjective reality. This is not only due to the limitations of our sensory organs, but also because, through evolution, we have intentionally discarded many details when capturing the attributes of objective things in order to more efficiently and quickly grasp their characteristics. We use our eyes, ears, nose, and tactile senses to obtain projections of objective objects, which we then transform into numbers, text, images, sounds, and so on. This is what we refer to as data. Information is the subjective description of an object formed in the human mind through the processing of subjective consciousness. Information can take the form of sounds, charts, and diagrams, as well as measurable quantities such as temperature, volume, and color. People love snow. It conceals the ugliness of everyday surroundings while transforming the familiar landscape into new patterns. A world blanketed in white also sets our minds soaring, sparking greater imagination. It is precisely because of differences in subjective imagination and how we perceive the world that the same data yields different insights for different people. The key difference between information and data lies in order. Order essentially involves taking the data we collect, sifting through it, and selectively categorizing and combining it to form a subjective pattern that describes the subject. Returning to the photography I mentioned at the beginning, composition is essentially each person using a frame to select a slice of the world they see based on their own perception. We hope that the scene presented in this slice conveys our perception and sparks the viewer's interest. This is composition. Technically speaking, an image must not be chaotic. That is, it must not be overly cluttered, making it difficult to identify the main subject. In painting, we can create our own order, but in photography, you must create it in collaboration with the objective world. Whether in photography or painting, the patterns created must leave room for the viewer's imagination. That is what art is all about. Art essentially evokes associations in the observer, enabling a subjective process of recreation. From the perspectives of philosophy, systems theory, and sociology, order refers to a state of stable, predictable, and systematic connections between things. Therefore, composition is the process by which an individual, through their own eyes, reconstructs the subjective order of the objective world in their mind. My previous job required me to be out and about every day, so I developed the habit of listening to the weather forecast daily. I often heard technical data like, today's atmospheric pressure is 1,050 pascals, or wind speed is 25 meters per second. As a layperson, it was hard for me to understand these figures, but that's okay. Weather forecasters translate this data into information that ordinary people can understand.
Please be advised that due to a sudden drop in air pressure and increasing wind speeds, a severe typhoon is expected to make landfall along the coast in approximately 2 hours. Please adjust your plans accordingly and take extra precautions when going out.
In my current job, reading and writing have become part of my daily routine. As a result, I don't pay much attention to the weather anymore. Instead, I've started focusing on my health. Every year, I receive a medical report from my annual physical. It includes various metrics such as heart rate, blood pressure, and cholesterol levels. Although these numbers may be difficult for a layperson to understand, the reports come with explanations, and my family doctor thoughtfully reminds me of what they mean. These explanations and reminders are essentially insights derived from the data. For example, my family doctor might say,
"Your blood pressure is on the high side. You're in the pre-hypertension stage, so you need to watch your diet."
but how can we maintain good health, enhance our physical functions, and prevent premature decline? That is the knowledge and wisdom we will discuss in the next section. In 1994, France and the United States co-produced Léon the Professional. Natalie Portman was just 13 years old when she played the young girl in the film, making a sensational debut. She holds dual citizenship in Israel and the United States. The Hebrew pronunciation of her name is Natalie Hirschler. While filming the Star Wars trilogy, she completed her bachelor's degree in psychology at Harvard University. Truly, talent flies with beauty side by side. Life blends into the hues of the vast sky. To conclude this section, I'd like to share 2 of her quotes with my dear readers as words of encouragement for us all.
I don't love studying. I hate studying. I like learning. Learning is beautiful. Make use of the fact that you don't know how things are supposed to be. That gives you freedom to create.